A new challenger has arrived. ASUS has their take on a 27-inch Quad HD 360Hz QD-OLED gaming monitor. Today I have the review on the ASUS XG27ACDNG. I'll be covering all the basics to help you make that awesome buying decision. From that glossy coating to versus videos showing that brightness impact or lack thereof versus other monitors. I also have QD-OLED versus WOLED, and I'll share my opinion on which one is brighter. The UFO test, that much requested brightness test. Does this monitor get that bright? I'll quickly cover the unboxing and the monitor menu. Is this monitor worth it? I hope to answer that question for you today. Hi friends, and welcome to Display Reality, showcasing display technology to help you make that awesome buying decision. And what can I say? The only other 360Hz QD-OLED gaming monitor I've tested here on the channel is the MSI MPG and MAG versions. And while those are identical in that picture quality, it's nice to see ASUS have their take on it. As with more options, the prices will come down. This monitor retails for $699. Covering the specifications, we have a 27-inch 2560x1440p QD-OLED gaming monitor with a 360Hz refresh rate and a 0.03 millisecond response time. ASUS is including ASUS OLED Care Plus to reduce the risk of burn-in, and we'll be covering that in the monitor menu. ROG exclusive OLED anti-flicker technology for anyone prone to that. This monitor is supporting VISA Display HDR 400 True Black compliance, coming in with 99% of the DCI-P3 color coverage, a TrueBit 10-bit panel, one DisplayPort 1.4, two HDMI 2.1s, and USB-C with a 90-watt power delivery. And with a light-controlled room, this ASUS QD-OLED gets very deep and very bright. With that pinpoint accuracy that only OLED can provide, you can easily see here there is no blooming, no haloing. The image is very clear and very crisp. The monitor menu has so many options that you can tailor this to your personal needs. PC and console gaming look amazing on this monitor, and at 360Hz with this QD-OLED brightness in SDR and HDR, you're gonna have a tough time finding a better monitor. It's an almost do-it-all monitor. The good thing is it passes the ABL Street Fighter Alpha 3 test. With high flashes, there is no ABL dimming, and in my testing, all QD-OLEDs pass this test, with many WOLEDs failing in SDR and HDR. But let's get into some comparisons so you can see what I'm talking about with that peak brightness. And I would really say, this is the only thing the monitor does not have that others do, that peak brightness. Now, while getting very bright, it's just that other monitors get brighter. Here with Mortal Kombat 1, you can see the highlights are really nice. I basically have no complaints, and I doubt anybody will have either. But here's slowing things down. Comparing the ASUS XG27ACDNG versus the recently released Sony M9 II, which that is an IPS 96 zone gaming monitor. When things are above the 10%, I would say lit up window, look how bright the Sony can get, while classic OLED has to dim a bit. Don't get me wrong, even though the image is clear here, the ASUS is miles ahead of the Sony on clarity. And when I see the brightness like this, it doesn't matter how bright the Sony can get, I would preferably want to play on the ASUS. It's just that clear. So I'm just trying to give you an idea of that brightness impact versus a matte IPS 96 zone monitor. Until you see it side by side, you won't appreciate QD-OLED. But since the Sony can get very bright, I would say brighter than the QD-OLED in 10% or higher windows or lit up pixels. Looking at this scene, the AQDP looks brighter, while the ACDNG does look a tad more colorful. It doesn't destroy the WOLED on the right by any means. QD-OLED on the left versus WOLED on the right. And with the AQDP's 1300 nit in peak brightness power, it is easily seen, and that is the brightest WOLED I have ever tested or I've ever seen. So it's going to be really fun to versus them, among other monitors. Well, rest assured, I'll have Call of Duty Stalker 2 to help you decide which one's for you. Now remember, the one on the left, the ACDNG, is $699, while the AQDP on the right is $999. But the ACDNG has tremendous value. It's identical to the MSI MPG and MAG monitors. It's all about the features. They both basically include all that OLED care options, so you're not missing out on anything if you want the best QD-OLED protections. Jumping right into brightness, here I have the 2, 5, 10, 25, 50, and 100% white windows in SDR and HDR. Very few QD-OLEDs in SDR mode can get this bright, while in HDR, things are very bright at just over 1000 nits at 125. The 1 to 2% windows look very good, but you usually really don't see that. It's more or less around the 5 to 10% on peak highlights. And you can see from 5 to 10%, it drops drastically. And I would always say, when you look at a monitor review, always look at the 25 to 50% windows. That's the real world average and brightness that you're going to be seeing on your gaming. Unless you play a very lit up game, that 100%. Usually all OLEDs hover around the 250 to 270 range. But it's good to see these numbers at this price point. Here with the UFO test, what do you expect? 360Hz QD-OLED clarity. And while the AQDP will be clearer because that's at 480Hz, this 360Hz, again, the same as the MSI versions, look very clear, very crisp. And at this price point, you're not going to find better. Here with the unboxing, ASUS decided to go with a null cardboard case. Not like the AQDP or MSI versions that have a 2-3 tone colored box. Just want to throw out that tidbit out there. But everything came secure, which is what matters. All the accessories and cables you'll ever need. Here you can see all the monitor ports, with the USB-C power delivery 90 watt on the right, and the headphone jack. You control the monitor menu with that knob in the middle. It's a screw-on stand, no tools required. That opening on the stand actually is for your media device. You can put a phone there. The monitor still includes that ROG backing with the RGB lights. It's very minimal, but it's nice to have. You can control the RGBs in the menu options. Here with the Xbox Series X or PlayStation 5, this ASUS QD-OLED does accept a 4K signal. All the options on both systems can be enabled, and that's very important because at least on the Xbox Series X, the 4K signal acceptance is needed for HDR. The input lag is just like any other QD-OLED monitor on the market, super fast and responsive, and right out of the box, it just works. And also on the PlayStation 5, VRR HDR 4K 1440p, 120Hz on both consoles, whatever you need guys. It looks amazing on this display. Quickly jumping into the monitor menu, as I've compared versus the AQDP, these are non-AI Game Plus options. There is a difference. We'll get to that in a Versus video, but I just wanted to showcase that here. You're not getting any of the AI options UCDP or AQDP provide. Here under Image, you have brightness, uniform brightness, contrast, OLED anti-flicker technology, the aspect control, blue light flicker, and that vivid pixel control. Under Color, you have so many options to tailor it to your needs, from the color temperature to the saturation and the gamma. Here with OLED Care, now I do have them all disabled, but you do have control to limit burn-in or image retention. I do believe you do need them to be enabled to take advantage of that 3-year warranty. But if you want to be safe, turn them all on. Here we have picture-in-picture mode, the lighting effects of that RGB in the back, your shortcuts, and the system startup. Make sure under the power setting you do have this on performance, so you can get the brightest image possible. Now that was for SDR. In HDR, I do want to show you the HDR settings. I do have this on console HDR with the adjustable HDR brightness and dynamic brightness boost. Again, that's to get the brightest image possible. I love showing brightness impact, plus with all the technology and that saturation, it just makes everything look awesome. So these are the options you have, SDR and HDR. And like I said, you can tailor this monitor's picture to your personal needs. The good thing is it has all the options, and many options in HDR mode, as sometimes other monitors disable many things, and it's just one preset. Here you have a couple to choose from. At $699, this is a very outstanding monitor. And basically the ASUS, Aorus, MSI, all are about the same. This monitor does have a lot more features, a lot more options than the Odyssey G6 OLED, or the Alienware version. So just keep that in mind when deciding which 27-inch QD-OLED you want to get. I would say the answer is easy. It's either between this ASUS XG27ACDNG or the MSI MPG and MAG versions. Here with the rating, friends, I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5. It has an amazing QD-OLED display. The brightness is really good. It can get very bright, especially with all that color. It has a ton of options. Perfect PC and console support. The reason why it doesn't get that 5th star is because peak brightness wins on WOLED. So it's not a perfect monitor. But here we're just nitpicking. Can you really see 200 to 300 nits in a 1 to 2% window? If you're an enthusiast, yes you can. But for everybody else, this would be your 5-star monitor, just like the MSI and MPG versions. All these QD-OLED gaming monitors at 27 inches are all 360Hz. They're basically all the same. Sure, there's other monitors at 240Hz. And speaking of 240Hz, which you can even buy those kinds of monitors at a lower price with this QD-OLED technology. But here 360Hz is king. You would have one of the best gaming monitors on the market today. This monitor is awesome and perfect for your PC and console needs. So friends, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed the review of the ASUS QD-OLED XG27ACDNG, a Quad HD 360Hz glossy QD-OLED gaming monitor. This gaming display should easily be on your radar. Friends, if you found this video helpful, please hit that like button so more people can see it to help them make that awesome buying decision. Consider subscribing if you want more videos just like this one. From gameplay videos, reviews, previews, and breaking news, and everything in between. always showcased here on Display Reality. Thanks for watching, friends. Stay safe out there. I'll see you guys next time.